As the world gets ready to observe, or is observing rather, the 16 days of activism, a silent walk and art exhibition is going to be taking place with deep significance, not just to the UWI fraternity, but to those past, present, and future. Joining us this morning in studio is Dr. Ann Barratt, the head of the Institute for Gender and Development Studies at the UWI. Good morning, Dr. Barratt, and welcome.
Good morning to you. It's such a pleasure to be here again.
It's a pleasure to have you back with us. How have you been since we last spoke?
I have been good, very busy, lots to do. Of course, commemorating this time is both a significant time but a sad time as well. See my skeleton earrings.
Yes.
To remember those who have passed and to hope that we don't have as many occurrences in future.
100%. And, you know, aside from, of course, your wonderful expression this morning, one of the things that we do know is that at the, Institute for Gender and Development Studies, a lot of shifts are happening, but also you have decided, your team has decided rather, I should say, to come together and really start not just a global moment together, but a global movement. Walk us through the significance of these choices we're seeing taking place.
Sure, of course. So 2025 recognizes violence that takes place in the online space. Web 2.0 has emerged as quite a profound hyper-reality. Now, we again have transitioned into a new reality, now located at number 59 Gordon Street, St. Augustine. And this is just down from Hugh Wooding, just down from the Department of Creative and Festival Arts, behind the St. Augustine High School. So in that space, we want to announce to everyone, hey, come find us. We are at 59 Gordon Street. But we want to foreground our most important stakeholders, that's our students. So in partnership with the Department of Creative and Festival Arts, celebrating their 40th anniversary this year, so another moment of transition, we quietly walk. We're in the middle of a state of emergency. We're in a workspace. We quietly walk from IGDS after we launch officially. Hey, here's where we are. We'll have some reflections from our starting professors and some from our students. Then we walk up to DCFA. And there we will see the student artwork, paintings, you know, mixed media, etc. And in that moment, we're able to celebrate. They will be reflecting the theme, Unite to End Digital Violence Against Women and Girls, and I dare say all other children and young people especially. And then on the 10th and 11th of December, and I know that I'm sitting with a star, we do have Dr. Weeks's play, Don't Call Me Baby Doll.
Yes.
And this play is about resistance, it's about the migration journey, it's about bodily autonomy, and it really fits well within the 16 days starting on the last day, which is the 10th. So I know that we're going to see you there in LRC, and it's all part of celebrating these 40 years with DCFA and recognizing the importance of telling these stories.
100%. And as you mentioned, telling these stories, one of the things that also is so important is the choice of art, particularly, right? Because art is a wonderful medium where one can express themselves, share a message. What was it like with the students, particularly them creating and really bringing that message to life? Have you seen perhaps some transitions and transformations with them?
Well, I wasn't personally engaged with the students who we brought in. We sent out a call. My colleague at DCFA, Ms. Michelle Boyd, she's curating all of them. But the students in their submissions, I see them coming to the email, they dedicated so much time explaining what their vision was, what they're trying to reflect, how they're viewing the world. I think it's such a good opportunity to see, as artists in development, they're all very talented, how they can communicate that theme. And I mean, in Trinidad and Tobago, this is our tradition. We communicate through cultural products, through art forms. So when we spoke with, when Dr. Joanne Tull, the director of the Department of Creative and Festival Arts, when we spoke, we said we really want the students not only to be foregrounded, but how their work translates into community. And that is how that process developed. But the students definitely took it on, and in all of their different creative ways, they tried to reflect the intersection between the online tools, online environment, and how we experience violence.
Now, as we mentioned, experiencing violence, of course, as we see society continue to evolve, you would have also just mentioned it as well, we see things happening in the digital space. And I know, of course, there is the campaign No Excuse for Online Abuse particularly, but we've also seen some statistics that are alarmingly high. Can you give us some details into those?
All right, so I'm not going to quote the statistics, but what I would say is the alarmingly high is real, and the impact is very real. So we have from the extreme unaliving or suicidal ideation or actual action due to bullying, cyber stalking, doxing, and so many other very, very dangerous acts that extend from the online into the offline. We also have amongst our young people a constant stream of cyberbullying and cyber stalking. And now, we would say bullying and stalking would have happened in the offline, but the online space allows some freedom. The online is not controlled and regulated like traditional media. Thirdly, you do also have breach of privacy, breach of confidentiality. Of course, we use that space to express ourselves, to share our pics, to do what we have to do, to have our pursuits. But that online space can then be curated by someone else. Have you seen the show You?
Of course.
On Netflix? Of course. And then through that, track and trace you, intervene in your lives in ways. So the impact on our people is, again, a direct impact. Social capital is lost, social networks, feeling excluded because of negative action. And then, of course, when people breach your space and privacy in the offline.
And it's something that, unfortunately, we do see manifesting. And it's so important that this is also, we see something that is highlighted as well, and specifically taken seriously, because, many times we're still dealing with this cultural acceptance of the fact that this is something that is valid. It's not just something small happening on a screen. It does, as you say, process into real life. One of the things that we're also seeing a promotion of course, is gentlemen getting involved. Tell us a little bit about let's say, the status of the men when it comes to this walk, the activism and more.
Well, three things. Of course, during the 16 days of activism, and of course yesterday was the day to eliminate violence against women and girls, we account for what is a trend, which is violence against women and girls being the highest. But the same issues I'm talking about in terms of online violence affects men and boys and gender non-conforming people. Of course, at the IGDS and at the UE, we are inclusive. Our policy is, our gender policy is, everyone comes along, be accounted for in their reality. This is the Principles Research Festival this week as well, starting today. And we celebrate that research that accounts for multiple lived experiences. So men are welcome at all times. First of all, not only to account for how they experience this violence, but if they are parents, if they are siblings, if they are brothers, if they are partners, to also account for how you can help initiate your family and friends and co-workers into keeping themselves safe. And fundamentally, I must say, to take the decision not to perpetrate, because we do have some perpetration in terms of unsolicited body part pics, unsolicited, advances, and those kinds of things tend to happen through our men and boys, unfortunately. So, yes, men are involved in all levels, from experiencing the violence and, of course, accounting for it, from participating and being an active partner and bystander, and then, of course, accounting for their own behavior.
Now, as you mentioned that, when shifting just back to ladies now, particularly the younger generation, it's something that you mentioned there, unsolicited photos. It's something that you hear, honestly, in many different conversations. And it also now brings up that thought process of how do we protect ourselves? In your realm of study, I'm sure you would have seen trends with certain things taking place. Do you have perhaps any recommendations in your oversight as to what can be done to protect ourselves?
Now, as I said, the online space, whether it's social media or any other platform, is not as regulated as other media. I suggest there are three things. In terms of, you can be publicly private. So you keep if you want to be a public figure, you have a separate account. Where you want to keep your private life, you have a private account, you keep it private. Because that way you can remember that curation of the onlooker, which is called, surveillance, but it's called covalence. You want to try to contain. Secondly, you have to be careful about your online profile, your digital profile. Truthfully, whatever it is you put on our platforms remains forever. If you delete it, you hide it from yourself. But really and truly, you don't hide it from those who can find it. And that digital profile, I would suggest, curate the self you want to be eternally.
You know, it's quite interesting as you say that, because we always say, you know, even if you delete it, it's still there. But I've never thought of it in the context of the only person you're hiding it from is yourself. That's a fantastic takeaway. One of the things that you also mentioned, again, part of a conversation ongoing, is that the internet is not as regulated as we would like to say in real life, in physical life. So in light of that, of course, we know that a way forward is being drafted at this time. What would you say should be strengthened first? Policy, education, or even cultural norms?
Well, all of them are, let's say they're on a similar level, but let's say if we looked at them in process, we must have policy. Yeah. We have a policy that says this is how we declare information, still maintaining the intent of social media, the online space, which is free expression and creativity. But there must be something to regulate us. Yeah. The technology are tools that we use to enhance our engagement with the environment, but we still bring ourselves as humans to it, and we must have policy to account for what is our rules of engagement. Then, of course, we educate, because a lot can be taken for granted. A lot can be seen, and we have so many cases that says this is not a problem, but unless you're aware. And the third one is, through education, we can have an impact on cultural norms, because cultural norms means behavior change, and as you know, that will take years and years of modeling.
Definitely, that is for sure, taking years, but one step at a time. Before we close our conversation this morning, Doctor, we do need to get back to the walk. I know we've definitely gone into in-depth in other points of the conversation this morning, but the Silent Walk and Art Exhibition, is it open to the public? Who can come and attend? Who can walk?
Anyone who can walk, you're welcome. We start at 1 o'clock at the Institute for Gender and Development Studies, 59 Gordon Street. We proceed east to DCFA. We are going with an active, dynamic program. It's a standing event because we don't want you to sit down too long and forget to walk. And then we go see our students work. It's at 159 Gordon Street. You will see us there. If, for example, the weather is bad, we do have some umbrellas, all orange, so that you walk with a partner, and some fans to keep you cool if it's hot. But if it really gets bad, you can drive slowly, just up the few meters to the DCFA. 1 o'clock, Friday, come. Wear your orange, wear your white, and join us to end digital violence.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Looking forward to seeing you on Friday, and looking forward to seeing you on the 9th and the 10th as well.
10th and 11th.
10th and 11th. Apologies. I tell you, when you're in rehearsal, when everything just happens. Well, Dr. Barratt, thank you again. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Of course. Dr. Barratt joining us this morning, the head of the Institute for Gender and Development Studies at the UWI, speaking about a silent walk and art exhibition that's going to be taking place. You can go across their social media channels for more information and, of course, get involved. Stay tuned, because coming up after this break, you could win a car.